Compact fluorescent, fluorescent tubes, high pressure sodium, and metal halide are just a few types of lamps that use a ballast. LEDs are becoming the mainstream option of lighting, and there are replacement lamps available for all of the above mentioned types that we just talked about. Generally, the types of LED replacement lamps that there are can be broken down into two categories. They're either type A or type B. Type A is a direct replacement meant to work in conjunction with your existing ballast, and type B is meant to be working off of your line voltage, in other words, a ballast bypass. So in this video, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how to do a typical ballast bypass. In this example, we'll be using a fluorescent tube fixture to showcase it, but the fundamentals are pretty similar for pretty much any ballast. But I do quickly want to mention, you guys probably only want to be looking at a ballast bypass if you're pretty confident that you have a failed or soon to fail ballast in your fixture already. So that would mean that your fixture is pretty old, or perhaps when you're pulling your lamp out to replace it, it doesn't really look that burned up, but it does not work. Then there is a good chance that you have a ballast issue. In this scenario, rather than trying to replace the entire fixture or try to replace the ballast and the lamp, perhaps it is best to go ahead and buy a type B lamp, and rather than replace the lamp, just give the socket direct line voltage and plug your lamp in. All right, so we're jumping over to our fixture here. We have our 2-lamp ballast, which is for 2 T8 fluorescent lamps. On this side, you can see the socket wires, which are the red and the blues. And on this side, we have the black and white, which goes to the power coming in. So you can see that on the diagram here. Black and white goes to the line, blue and red go to the sockets. If you look at this side over here, you will see this is where the black and white wires connect to our power coming in. And they actually have a nice little handy connector here. So we're going to just go ahead and pull that apart. It is always good to make sure that your power is off. So we're going to go ahead and do that as well, even though we have this nice connector here. All right, so we have our non-contact, and you could see the power was on. So now I'm going to go ahead and hit the light switch. Now it is off. So we know that we're working safely. Now here we have the wiring diagram of what we're going to be putting in. This particular lamp is type A and type B, but like I said, we're going to be doing type B. So you can see that the line goes to one end of the socket and the neutral goes to the other. So really all we have to do is hook up the power to one side and the neutral to the other. And like you can see in the diagram, it only has to go to one pin, but it can also go to 2 pins if that's easier. So whatever type of lamp you have, it should come with a diagram on there like that, or maybe a paper. Either way, that's what you're going to want to look out for. So here you can see we have our 2 blue socket wires on this side. I'm separating them. I'm going to go ahead and disconnect them from the ballast wires. So we're just going to be left with 2 bare wires that go to each of the sockets on this side, and you'll see how we'll handle that in a moment. Moving over to the other side, we just have 1 red socket wire, and that jumpers across to this other socket. So all we have to do is disconnect the 1 red wire. So now that we've done that, we took the ballast screw out, we're taking the ballast down, and now our ballast is removed. We're going to go ahead and cut off the input wires here so we can reuse those, since it does have a handy connector on it. And now we splice that in, so we have the neutral going to that side, and then there's our connector. Moving all the way over to the other side, we have the hot connected to the red wire, and now we just need to connect that up, twist them all nice and together, and put the cover on. Once we go to put the cover on, make sure we didn't pinch any wires. Everything's tucked in nice and tight. So the blue side is now the neutral. This other side with the red and the jumper is now the hot. And then we just got to go ahead and put our lamps in. So grab a lamp, put it in and twist, and then turn it on, and we're done.